I'm the Operations Director of Life Science Technologies, responsible for our AgTech division. So what we're going to look through today is taking you through our mission statement, where we're looking to communicate to farmers about how they're currently growing, to rethink farming, looking at technology and innovation, and supporting how we can deliver to them and ultimately grow more with less. So for myself, I've been with Life Science Technologies since the IPO. In Horti for 4 years, but my background's predominantly been within electronics, design, manufacture, and so for over 26 years, I've started my way back when we were doing fluorescent tubes and wound chokes, for the first integrations of the 5mm through-hole technology with LEDs, to the latest LEDs where we come through with COB technology, looking at power distribution and looking at how we can then obviously look at having the latest technology available to growers and farmers. So for today's presentation, I'm going to go through some small highlights, but a short video introduction to us AgTech division, and then looking through topics from how we produce our food, some of the current challenges, and we've limited it to 3. Obviously, the challenges with farming, as Richard's alluded to, is quite extensive. Looking at the needs of the plant, and then how specifically our technology can help reduce and impact those. Some of the case studies, and then where we see technology going into the future within the AgTech space, and our transition of revenue and then future partnerships. So some of our insights, we've developed over the last 3 years 4 core product ranges. I'm going to go into them a little bit more detail in some more slides. We've already established 2 key partnerships for us to extend our global reach. Currently, we've built up a quoted pipeline of circa 42 million. And one of the technologies that we've obviously designed and developed is one of the first battery-powered modular sensor systems. All of that's been done with our in-house design team, so our industry experts and engineers. Our Nurture Grow, which is our lighting platform for the AgTech and CEA space, we've already delivered our first project this year in Europe. And one of the key attributes that we've done for new and innovation regarding technology is our N2O measurement. So last year's trials alone, we've recorded a massive 1.94 million fluxes events for that year. Now that might seem quite a lot. It might seem there's no way to put a quantifiable element on it. But as Richard had alluded to, typically, it's a very expensive piece of kit. It's called a gas chromatograph, highly portable. It looks like a horse trailer on wheels. Not very affordable to farmers, and obviously capturing those gases. But equally, something like that might measure only 8 measurements in a day. So if you're trying to build up a profile of data and actually truly capture what we're measuring and putting into the atmosphere, it's very difficult with such a short, small amount of sample rates. A lot of our development is also partnered with UKRI, so part of the relationship with Dyson and many of the consortium members is through Innovate. And some of the products that we've developed, 2 of which we've obviously got our patent submissions in place to give us some protection. So I've got a short video, and then I'm going to take you into some further detail regarding the AgTech and the products we're producing.
The world's population has doubled in less than 50 years.
Overpopulation driving up the Earth's temperature.
Climate change has made the issues worse. Drought has fueled wildfires and threatened the economic security of farmers.
It's becoming clearer than ever that we need to rethink traditional farming and support growers becoming more profitable. The AgTech division of Life Science Technologies Holdings has 2 subsidiaries, Life Science Technologies and Tomtech UK, with over 40 years of industry experience. Our mission is to grow more with less by developing sustainable plant monitoring solutions that provide optimal yield, whatever the environment. We have partnered with world-leading university research teams to create the perfect crop recipe using our patent-pending Nurture Grow and Sensor Grow products. Nurture Grow is an intelligent lighting solution utilizing the latest in LED technology to provide growers with market-leading performances in both efficiency and light spectrum. Partnering with leading academic institutions, our highly experienced team will create the most optimal design and uniformity for your environment. But this isn't the only feature saving you downtime and cost. Our patent-pending modular Nurture Grow system provides an interchangeable parts architecture, allowing you to upgrade to the latest technology in LEDs without having to replace the light fixture, giving you a consistent performance as well as reducing waste. SensorGrow is a modular turnkey sensor measurement and software platform designed for use in glasshouses, polytunnels, vertical farms, and broadacre fields. It brings together real-time environment measurement, crop performance, third-party and key business data, allowing the grower to adjust their environment accordingly for optimal growing conditions, making profitable year-round growth a reality. Our N2O broadacre sensor platform is the first step in accurate determination of real-time soil emissions, while our sensors compare variables such as temperature, humidity, light, pressure, and CO2. Our specialist computers and software bring everything together for complete control, driving the transformation towards a more digital future in agriculture. TomTech, a leading UK brand for monitoring and control systems, and software for irrigation, fertigation, weather stations, ventilation, motors, and more. We not only design and install our industry-leading products, but service them too. Our engineers are on hand to inspect, repair, or replace any equipment, ensuring your control systems operate efficiently and deliver optimal crop performance season after season. Our skill, reliability, and professionalism has been recognised by our clients. Kilmoon Cross Nurseries have always found our service to be nothing other than exemplary, and Sandy Acre Nursery described TomTech as a system that works impeccably. Light Science Technologies and our climate control system offer a turnkey solution to growers and remain dedicated to providing innovative, affordable, and sustainable solutions, not only maximising plant productivity, but revolutionising the future of agriculture.
So a little bit more detail. So as shown in the video, our AgTech division is made up of two companies. So in Light Science Technologies and AgTech. So combining over 35 years of industry experience. Now for this sector, we've got three core offerings. So we've got our LED Nurture Grow, which is a tunable and modular lighting system, which means we can be flexible and dynamic in the application of LED lighting to meet a grower's needs. We've got our SensorGrow and IoT platform, which is measuring several environmental cardinals, which I'll come on to a little bit more in detail. And we've obviously then got our environmental control. So we talk about a turnkey solution. So not one of those in isolation is going to deliver the control for the closed environmental agricultural space. So we need a combination of all those technologies to provide that turnkey solution to a grower. And as we set the scene from our CEO, Simon, the global market size for the AgTech space, so specifically looking at smart agriculture and the current focus with LED grow lights and agricultural sensors, is a very large 9.6 billion and 3.74 billion. So that's a potential market size. So why do we need to rethink farming? Yeah, I think Rich has made a compelling case for why we need to do it. You know, we're not going to be able to continuously and sustainably grow the amount of food that we need to, and the challenges faced with obviously the economic pressures. So we need to do it through innovation. So innovation is the simplest form of changing something to make an improvement. But to validate those improvements, we need the data to do it. So why are we making those decisions? So we need the right amount of data to instill those changes. And a quote from Albert Einstein that I quite like is, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So I'd like to look at just three core challenges. Richard Sears said in their latest farming consortium, there's many more, however, but we've got three particular that I'd like to touch on. So food security, at its heart, it's our human health and well-being. You know, we're growing food because we need it. So the challenges faced within that are obviously the inclement weather and changing weather patterns, you know, from flash floods to forest fires. Okay. As a population, we're growing. You know, we're already talking of going from 8 billion to 10 billion population in the next few years. So the population and food demand growth is exacerbating the need to obviously grow. And obviously the economic pressures. We've had things like Brexit. We've had the wars in Ukraine. All those are preluding to more challenges that growers are facing daily. And ultimately, we've then got our land use. So you can't grow more land. We've just got to use it more effectively and more sustainably. So as a growing population, urbanisation impacts on that. So the challenge between industry and expansion and the farming land, you know, that we're not going to win that. The other impacts that we need to look at is when we use those farms is the actual soil degradation. So what we're actually doing to the soil in the actual farming practices and those resources. Richard alluded to earlier, that you're farming of potatoes and actually forming the troughs is a very intensive process that actually causes the soil content to degrade. And the actual ultimate form is no matter what we do, whether we're driving a car, in a plane, or growing our food, everything that we do ultimately falls into carbon. So our soil management practices, from the amount of nutrient we apply, how we do it, the amount of pesticides, we've seen adoption of smart technologies for cameras to reduce them. The actual energy, red diesel within tractors, all of these processes are what are going to lead us into obviously having a negative impact on carbon. Equally, the land use and crop selection. So having to have cover crops on rotation, peas on a 7-year cycle, they're all elements of how we grow our food, ultimately impacting carbon. So we need to look at how we can rethink farming, addressing those practices, and looking at how we can obviously grow more with less. So to understand what technology we need, ultimately, what are we growing? We from seed to plate, we're growing plants. We're growing the food that we consume. In reality, a plant isn't going to thrive unless we have those key things. So from water, air, light, warmth, nutrients, a bit like us, we need to be wrapped up and taken care of. So, however, we're not getting a plant's full potential. So if we take a plant from seed and its full potential, every indecision we make, every mistake, so whether we're not applying the right nutrient, if we're not adding CO2 supplementation, if we're not applying pest control early enough and we're having reduced waste. So if we think a plant's full potential, all of the current indecisions we have in our current method of farming, we can obviously rethink that with the use of better technology. So the technologies that we've currently got within our AgTech division, we mentioned about those core products. So we have our Nurture Grow, which is our LED lighting range. And again, a lot of these products, we've said we've got a little stand outside, so please feel free to come and have a closer look. But our lighting range is to obviously apply for a daylight extension or LED or assimilation lighting. So we obviously need to look at those for those closed environmental agricultural spaces. So we have a top light range, which will go cover crop, so typically in a glass house that you'll have seen on some of the slides. We have an intercrop range, which will be typically used in long vine crops, such as tomatoes and cucumbers, to add supplementary light lower down within the crop. And we have a multi-layer light, which will be typically used across vertical farms or propagation or flowering of any sorts from those. We then got our Sensor Grow, which is our sensor and IoT platform. And this is what we've patented as a modular system. So typically in a glass house, you might have just one sensor that sits within 1 acre of glass. But where we've chosen to do a different way, being battery powered and oil, means we can put a higher resolution of data. And one of the things that we've done for that is we work with a grower over in Lincolnshire, where they already know within their glass house, using a single sensor, they have a 5-degree temperature differential within their glass. And that's all come about from using the sensors that we've put in and deployed, so they can look at how they deploy their heat management systems. And then coupled with that, to finish it off, you need the control. So having lighting and sensors is great, but you need an element of control. So our environmental control turnkey solution systems in TomTech provide a simple platform for growers to control their environment. So all of those technologies look and predominantly focus on that closed environmental agricultural space. So from your vertical farms, which is typically made up of multiple layers in high density, your glass house, which is and then you're obviously your lower technology within your hoop houses and polytunnels. But why is light important? So a bit like us, the sun is our greatest source of light and heat. We can't replicate that at scale, but through technology, we can supplement that to suit a plant's needs. So obviously the sun itself will actually develop vast array of wave spectrums, typical in nanometers. But what we see as visible light inherently is typically the exact that causes the plant to grow. And so what we see as light is actually delivered through LED technology into the LEDs and plants themselves. Now, why choose LED? So LED is actually fantastic. So old technologies in glass houses, traditional, would have used HPS, high pressure sodium, which is basically a glass bulb with a mixture of gases, and that emits like an orange hue, but it's fixed, it's set. there's nothing you can do. It creates light and it creates heat. However, with the amount of investment and R&D from the governments and the likes of Dyson about going into LED technology and research, LED is a fantastic solution in the fact that it's actually a term what we call is monochromatic. It means it emits a single wavelength of light. Now you might say, well, why is that important? Why do I care? Well, actually, the beauty of that is with the understanding in academic research, we're looking at how individual spectrums, so colours from your reds, your blues, your greens, can actually affect how we grow our food. So whether it's controlling the amount of blue to control the length or height of a plant, whether you're controlling the amount of far red, which will increase flowering, hardness, shade avoidance. Our understanding of LED and how it's applied to light is evolving at a tremendous rate. So typically, with LED lighting installations, the focus you'll probably see within the vertical span space is made up of two spectrums. So in combination, we have blue, which is around 460 nanometers, and red at 660. So the combination of those are typically what's used in a vertical farm. And the reason for that is simple. So those two spectrums are the most energy efficient in their manufacturing process, but equally it's the most photosynthetic that the plants absorb to create the energies and break down the glucoses and sugars that they need. So from lighting, we've obviously got our sensors. So the sensors themselves play a vital role because what we're looking to do, as Richard explained earlier, we're not going to have enough land. We need to utilize the land that we've got much better. So with sensors, we can look at yield, forecasting, looking at control of pests, which obviously is reducing waste, but most importantly is the quality. So what we're looking to do in sensors and controlled environment, we're actually looking to open and close the stomata of a leaf. So that's effectively how a plant transpires, regulates its heat, controls its growth, etc. So what we're actually looking to do within a controlled environment is actually control how the plant behaves in order to get the most out of it. And so through sensors and data acquisition and through control, this is how we can look to improve that. Effectively, what we're looking at doing through innovation is ultimately improve the grower pound. We talked about a 30-acre glasshouse, a £23 million investment, only delivering a £1 million profit at the end of the year. So what our technology we need to do is we need to look at how we can improve that grower pound. So 3 of the projects we've already been working on, how to obviously look at identifying and replicating those controls. So we've got 3 growers and 3 problems that we're helping them solve. So we have one grower here in the UK that is looking at trying different fleeces over their crop. And the purpose of that is to actually identify the early onset of mildew and reduce labour. So they want to look at how they can control and regulate the temperature using different technologies. So again, we're not developing the fleeces, but we're providing a means for them to validate and look at their operational resources and then effectively save more in how they consume products. A second grower has a problem with biological control. So they grow plants, potted plants, a nice big 16-acre glasshouse over in Lincoln. And when they apply a biocontrol, if they get the conditions incorrect or out of balance, the effectiveness of that biocontrol they put on is less than 30 minutes. And at £900 a kilo for the biocontrol, the amount of expense that they look and put on is immense. So if we can help provide the data for them to control the environment, the effectiveness means that they can get that same biocontrol to be effective for up to 24 hours. So from 30 minutes to 24 hours by giving a grower greater control. So reducing costs, reducing chemical use also within our food. And one of the biggest areas for waste, Richard again has mentioned it, they've obviously gone into late season blight within potatoes. So again, if we can understand what's going on within the canopy of the crop with technology, we can give better advice so that farmers can make a more reactive decision. Traditionally what happens with data and farming is it's all reactive. The event's passed. We're not going to be able to recover anything from it. So what does our sensor grow system do? So we've already got our air zone modular. So the reason we've done this is modular is we know a grower's needs are different. So it's not a square peg in a round hole. It's not a one size fits all. So subject to a grower's application and grower's needs, we can combine multiple modules to give them and deliver them the data that they're looking for. Equally, if their business users change or business users change, we can offer them an additional module. So our current air zone is measuring the core metrics, which we obviously identified for a plant's need in light, temperature, CO2, humidity and pressure. Well, one of the also important things you get out of that in a closed environment or protected environment is actually the ability to control what's called VPD or vapor pressure deficit. And that allows the grower to keep a plant within that sweet spot of how they want and choose to grow that. One of our UKRI projects has just finishing. So this year we actually launch into the market in this spring. So again, we've actually got some of these models outside for you to have a look at in our root zone or multi-zone. So that's why it's important. If you sort of refer back to one of the photos I show where we can look at the potato crop and it's full above and ground, it means we can obviously give growers key metrics in that holistic environment. And then what we're still working on, as we're obviously 2 years into that 3-year project, is actually greenhouse gas measurement. So our focus is as part of the UK Innovate project for N2O or nitrous oxide, but equally there's 3 more core gases that ultimately emit and combine for over 95% of our greenhouse gas emissions, and they're specifically methane, carbon dioxide and ammonia. So they'll be our product iterations and design considerations moving forward. So by going to a multi-zone, it transitions us into broad acre measurement, and it means we can give the grower the key insights and key data, as I say, directly above the crop or specifically within the root. Because the plant isn't the nice fluffy green bit or the flower that you see. It needs a root, it needs a whole organic system. So we need to understand and provide data holistically, and that gives us a greater scope for that. One of the big things for us compared to CEA also is actually the amount of land that's available in the scale. So for the closed environmental agriculture space, it's less than a few million acres globally. Whereas when we look at broad acre, the potential's over 98% more, only over 98% more. It's 400 odd million acres globally. So by going into broad acre, there is a much more scope for us to add real value to meet what growers need. Data itself is fantastic, but ultimately it's what we do with it. So at Light Science and AgTech division, we've developed our own IoT platform. So it's a user interface which equally gives the farmer data at hand. So whether it's an iPad, iPhone, laptop, sat in his John Deere going around the tractor, he's got access to that data in real time. Okay, so what we're talking about is real-time data analytics, just like having camera recognition on tractors to obviously spray those pesticides and fertilizers. But having that real-time access provides a platform that growers can access and obviously look to understand and make value of. We additionally, with our TomTech side of the business, in that enclosed space, we obviously provide the turnkey solution. So if a grower is looking to put up a glass house and increase their protected growing, so they're fed up of having their farms flooded, or they're fed up of pests or even deer that are coming down and eating the crop, by increasing their protected growing space, obviously it helps them grow further. And we've obviously heard from Dyson how they grow in the shoulder months or winter months as opposed to in the summer months. By having that closed environmental agriculture space and being able to have a full turnkey package from our team at TomTech means we can obviously deliver and help growers achieve what they need to do to improve their profitability. But technology and innovation doesn't stand still. So where we look at developing new technologies, so whether it's satellite-driven combine harvesters and roaders, whether it's sensors, or working with academia, I mentioned at the start of my slides, the investment in technology and academia, understanding how specific wavelengths of light impact plants is all going to change how we look at doing that. So we need to be looking at the flagship product of the future. So what that means and what we're looking at, obviously, is a bit of a recap from our potential market opportunity for sensors and broad acre. So for us, it's an attractive growth area. Having the software and maintenance plans brings into that, and it's important that we continue investing in to help achieve global net zero obligations and targets. But the beauty of it is we need to be obviously looking at having it real time. As I say, once the event's passed, we can only learn from it, but we're not going to make any gains. What does that step change look like? Well, we see it as a step change or a transition into what we term as digital agriculture. So a combination of technologies will allow us to mitigate some of those challenges we face. So for looking at our land mass, looking at our carbon inputs, and looking at improving our food security. So as technology investment from not only just from Light Sciences and AgTech division, but equally and broadly, rethinking farming will lead us into a transition to digital agriculture. For us, we obviously also look to partner, so not only with academia, so we've partnered with the likes of Lincoln University, Derby University, Nottingham. We've obviously got consortium members from Bangor and James Hutton Institute as part of the projects we work with. But equally, we obviously look to expand and introduce our partnership and strategy. So we've already partnered with two. So AgriLogic is a key position for us where they focus on control. So we're looking to obviously offer our sensors and lighting within that region and understanding the market macros and market entry to support those. And more recently, we've got Agrilux, who are a Dutch manufacturer of top lighting, sort of a global leading brand, respect for that. But the purpose for that is for us to look at offering best value. We look at having standardized product for those growers. What are the growers' needs now versus what are the growers' needs in the future? So key partnerships, first of many, and as we'll obviously look to continue that strategy going forward to bring in key partners. So how we see the future and sort of our sort of vision, if you like, is obviously we'll continue to expand our dealer and partner network. I've obviously alluded to some of the new products and technologies, that the sensors will bring. One of the fantastic things about the sensor is with all these web apps and user interface, it provides opportunity for recurring revenue. And as technology adoption, improve rural communications and infrastructure, the IoT framework. So where we see over the next 5 years an increase in the flagship products of the sensors and technology, we'll see a greater transition of where we realize our revenue from.